Hello everyone, this is Singy from the Sanctum of the Soul, and I am so excited today because I finally received the Fate Journey Tarot. Um, for those of you who don't know, this is a tarot made by fans um, who are fans of the Fate Stay Night franchise. So it is an anime franchise that has been going on for more than a decade. It is still currently in the top 30 most profitable franchises, if I'm not wrong, with Pokemon at number one. But anyway, I've been a fan since the first anime, and that was Fate Stay Night, and uh, it was very, you know, widely regarded as a disaster because of the lack of budget. And anyway, I am digressing, but so some backstory in it. It started off as a not too successful anime, and then the other company took over, and now it is hugely successful. In fact, I think the third movie is coming out soon, sometime this year, um, as well as a mobile game called Fate Grand Order. And they have ongoing series as well. The current one being Babylonia, where it's set in ancient Babylon. So anyway, on to the tarot. I didn't know of the existence of this tarot. In fact, I think I saw a previous iteration of this um, some time ago, maybe about 2 years ago, I think. So I saw this last year in December, and that was when it was first announced. Yeah, sometime in December or November. So I was a little bit late to the game. So by the time I saw this, most of it had been pre-ordered, and most stores were out of stock. So I hunted this down through the far reaches of the internet, and I finally found a copy of this. So I did find another copy of it, and it will be coming soon. So that one will be for collection purposes, while this one will be for actual readings. So as you can see, it does come in the tarot itself, and also the collectible uh, booklet. So I'm a bit worried right now because in the promotional uh, photo, there was another deck with extra cards. I'm hoping that this is the revamped one with all the cards in there, or I will be having to write in to ask about what happened to the extra cards. So without further ado, oh right, so it arrived in this huge box, and the bubble wrap is in heart shapes, which was cute. Okay, let's get to it. So this is basically just a collectible album where, if I'm not wrong, it's exactly the number of cards. Ugh, this is going to sound terrible on camera. Okay. So, it's going to be exactly the correct number of cards in the deck. So, there won't be space for any other cards, I believe. And, oh, look at that. So this is going to be by, you can see that all the people who designed this have web names instead of actual names, because this is a fan-made deck. It is not actually officially recognized by the Fate company, which is fine because the images are gorgeous as far as I could tell. Okay, this is awkward, but I'm going to have to get a sharp object. There we go. And just make a nick somewhere. Huh, this looks like a weak spot. Come on. Oh god. This plastic wrap is thicker than my skin. there we go. So I was so excited when receiving it that I wasn't in the state of mind to get rid of the cling wrap first. There we go. Gorgeous. Hey, this is exciting. So you can see it better here. Tarot, Fate Journey, FGO, which stands for Fate Grand Order, Tarot Collected Works. Look at that. So the box is a velvety kind of texture. And oh, look at that. Look at how sturdy the box is. So, you know, shame on all the other mass market decks that an indie deck made by fans is able to get such high quality boxes, while you get flimsy boxes from, you know, indie decks with lots of history and capital. So the deck itself is huge. Look at that. So this is a huge deck. Oh Jesus. And we've got the first card, How to Start the Journey. It is, of course, all in Chinese and Japanese. So let me see if I can translate it. So tarot tells your future, your fortune. So it's spontaneous. Right, so it's a spontaneous direction in the chaos. It's basically finding, you know, what tarot does. So it's finding a pattern in the chaos. And if you have any questions in your journey in life, you can get help that you never imagined was possible. So first step would be to ask the question. Second step is to shuffle. Third step is to second step is to do like the shh. And then the third step is to cut the shuffle. Fourth step is to make your spread, and your fifth step is to interpret the cards, and then to keep the cards, which is a little redundant, but right. So here we go with the deck itself. This is the Fool. Okay, so the card stock wise, it is quite thick, as you can see. This rivals most indie decks in terms of thickness. It is very, very thick, and as you can see, a tarot deck is this thick with beautiful gilding. In fact, I don't see any problem with the gilding at all. As you can see, not much problems, or any problems at all. Yeah, no problems with the gilding at all, which is a huge relief considering how many problems with gildings we've had with mass market decks. And as far as I can tell, because I got this straight from China, the cost is not too high. I think it was about 20 US, was it 30 to 40 USD, which is about the same price as a mass market deck, and much cheaper than most indie decks out there. So, you know, if they can achieve this quality, I don't see why other companies are unable to do the same, considering this isn't even like really an established company. The Fool, the Magician. So I can't recognize all of them, but because I don't really follow the lore too much in the games, I just follow the anime and some of the manga, I think. So this is the Magician, and that's Merlin, as in the Merlin. And then that's Joan of Arc, the High Priestess. That is, I'm not sure which one this is. It's either some form of Rin or Ishtar or one of those. The Empress. That's Gilgamesh, I think. The Emperor. I'm not sure. So if I'm saying things wrong, please do let me know in the comments. So in terms of symbolism, there isn't as much to go on. In fact, some of the symbolism might be a bit confusing. Like, for example, the High Priestess in armor might be a bit confusing for people who don't know that this is Joan of Arc. And the spiral, the entwined staff, generally refers to, you know, medicine, and that might be a bit confusing as well. And we've got the Emperor, so we've got the Aang, very Egyptian, so I'm not quite sure if that's Gilgamesh because that's his Babylonian, so it might be some kind of pharaoh that I really don't know about. And the Hierophant, I think this is one of the Celtic heroes. The Lovers, ooh, and that's of course the protagonist of Fate Zero and his lover, who is a homunculus. So yeah, it didn't end well, but we've got enough of the symbolism. We've got the lilies, we've got Cupid, and we've got some of those red fruit. And that's Ryder, his Alexander the Great, I think. And that's the Chariot, because that's his noble phantasm. Well, actually, I don't know if there were bulls, but noble phantasm is a culmination of each hero's life story or myth, and so Fate, the entire Fate series has this ability of weaving history into fiction. So they are able to pluck characters out of history and mythology, and then, you know, are able to characterize these figures through their actions and through their abilities and weapons. So that's what drew me in as well, because I am a history buff, and even though some of the characters aren't historical, and of course there are lots of anachronical details, but I'm not too concerned with that, because most works of fiction based in any kind of period tends to be historically inaccurate anyway. So I thought it was really interesting the way they managed to create an entire universe out of these myths. So this is Saber, of course, and she's Arturia. In the Fate universe, King Arthur is a woman. So that's Excalibur that she's holding. And if I'm not wrong, that's Avalon, the shield. And that's the Hermit, who is a fictional character from a legend about some kind of samurai. So in the anime, he was sent to guard a temple alone, so that's quite apt. The Wheel of Fortune, and that's, I can't remember his name, like Ringer or something like that, but he's the protagonist of, he's wearing Alexander's cape, as you can see, because he was his master in the story. So that's Justice. So in a way, if you do know the story, you'll know that he started off, you can see Alexander's symbol here and strength. So he started off as the weakest link in the entire lineup of masters. So he ended up well, he didn't really win, but it is symbolic of, you know, the cycle. And then there's Justice, who is Archer, supposed to be a pillar of morality, but I don't know about that. Hanged Man, so that's the demigod of the sun in Hindu mythology. Apparently, I think the myth is that he gave up his armor in order to secure immortality or something like that. So in a way, he does choose to give up his power, so that's the Hanged Man for you. Death, and that's Jack the Ripper, who is also a woman. Well, more of a lolly, but so a child lolly in the franchise. Temperance. Oh, look at that. She looks familiar, but I can't remember who she is. And the devil. So I do like that they do try to keep to the Rider-Waite kind of symbolism. You can see the bottles, you can see the skull. So they do try to keep true to some of the symbolism, so it is not completely unusable for people who are not into Fate. The devil. So with all the chains, I'm sure that's Enkidu, is it? That's the third eye. I have no idea. And we've got the tower, and that's Medusa in her Lancer mode. Gorgeous. The star. Oh wow. The moon. That's Enkidu. So anyone who's familiar with the Epic of Gilgamesh will have heard of Enkidu. And that's Gilgamesh. Lots of sun symbolism, of course. And that's the ziggurat of, can't remember the name of the city, but Urus, was it? And that's Judgment. Ooh. Ooh. The world. That's the Holy Grail. So the whole point of the Holy Grail War, which is the central theme in the Fate series, is that different characters from history are summoned by magicians to battle it out for possession of the Grail, where you get to grant a single wish. So we do tend to have this recurring theme of be careful what you wish for, and a wish that sounds, made entirely in good intentions can backfire on you as well. And so there's always that constant tension, and I've watched a decade of it, and it doesn't seem like there has been any wish at all that has been, portrayed to be good. So I really like that about the series, because our human minds just aren't capable of computing all of the consequences of our wishes, of our actions and our desires. So whenever we talk about manifestation and the universe manifesting our wishes, we do have to be careful, because the world doesn't revolve around any of us. It is a collective. We can talk about how we are all one, for the rest of our lives, but it doesn't negate the fact that we are still a collective. And so the universe doesn't revolve around any of us. So we have to be very careful about what we feel is spiritual, even because, what we feel is beneficial might actually turn out to be harmful for some other people. So we've got King of Saber, so that's very interesting. So I forgot to mention that this deck has 7 suits instead of 1, I think. Instead of 4, sorry. So it's basically all of these heroes are classed into 7 classes. Saber, which is all the knights, Archer, which is self-explanatory, and then Rider, so people who ride on things, and Berserker, which are people who tend to be a bit more mindless, and then there's Caster, which are the magician classes, Assassin, which are, assassins, and the last one is Lancer, so they are kind of like knights as well. So knights with lances instead of knights with swords. So they are split into archers, sabers, lancers, riders, as you can see, which is very interesting. So it is generally thought that saber classes are the strongest in terms of brute strength, but they are also some of the least versatile of classes. So they rely on swordsmanship and pure brute strength to get through. So in terms of tarot, I would consider them as a very fiery class, but that's just entirely my uh, my interpretation. So it's beautiful because anyone of guidebook, so that's very interesting. So this is the King of Saber. So this is Mordred, King Arthur's son, which in this case look the same. So this is the archer in who is also Nero, yes, Emperor of Roses, King Nero, who is also female in this case. Go. So she says that we cannot keep thinking about battles and killings. No matter how high your position is, no matter how quiet this place is, no matter how strong you are, no matter what you obtain, no matter how long you have been here, then by not forgetting the blooming pride in your heart, by not forgetting your heart like that, no, I am grateful for being able to have been living like that. So that simple beauties of life, even in the spiritual community where we have to be high vibe and all that, but sometimes just letting loose and enjoying the moment, a far more profound spiritual experience than any kind of astral projection or all that particular series I didn't really like though. Queen of Saber, that's Lancelot. Yeah, probably Lancelot. So you can see that there are symbols so you can kind of get the whole idea of it more apathetic. This one is obviously a bit more showy. What the cards are supposed to signify. And then we've gone to archers. So obviously not, you know, she's in a floaty position, not really engaged in battle, while the kings are always a bit more flamboyant. And then we've got the pages, which are the slender, more soft, and the costumes are also a bit more muted. So King of Lancer. Oh, I do know who that is. That's Vlad the Impaler, the hero of Transylvania. You can see all the impaling, teaching mudra rather than an aggressive one. So in a sense, this to me is like the King of Swords. Obviously ready. I think that's Robin Hood. Is it? Or is it Achilles? I don't actually remember. And that's Page of Lancer, if I'm not wrong. Oh god, I can't remember. Is this Alice? I think this is Alice. I'm not quite sure though, so don't take my word for it. And that's King of Rider. Very showy, very flamboyant. Queen of Rider, that's the pirate. That famous pirate, who was it? Can't remember, let me look her up. So basically there is a lot of gender bending in the Fate series. So male characters historically could appear female, female characters could appear male, and they do adjust the law accordingly. For example, Arthur, they do adjust the law to suit the fact that you know, how a female in those times managed to get to the position of emperor or king. So it's interesting because the riders tend to be riding on animals, but in this case she rides on a pirate ship, which is quite interesting. And that's Eldrach, King of Ghosts. I can't remember what. Oh, Francis Drake. Yes, that's his name. Knight of Rider. Oh yes. This is the other knight. her story as well. So she looks like a woman, but he's actually a guy and dressed as a woman. So we've got a lot of these in here. So the fluidity, the gender neutrality is something that I think Fate managed to coin a long time ago, long before, you know, the current equality movements have been pushing for. So that's I can't remember his name. One of Charlemagne's paladins. So you can see how white that avoid direct conflict that tends to go behind your back. So in this case, if you do draw an assassin card, you might want to look out for, you know, hidden dangers, or if deception. I'm not quite sure who that is. Yeah, not quite sure. And we've got the casters now. King of casters. Oh god. That is... So I am looking up the more important ones. Characters even in history. So we can kind of draw more information from them because this is a huge deck. Okay. I can't remember who this is. But she is one of the more important characters in history. I don't want to waste too much time looking things up on my phone, so... Queen of Caster. Again, the queens are always a bit more passive. Who is that one? Oh, basically this is another one of the Knights of the Round Table, I think. But you can see that the general energy of the Berserker cards is a bit more of rage. As you can see, even the Page of Berserker feels a bit chaotic with the extra. This is the martyr that went to Japan and spread. I can't remember his name, but yeah. It's a symbol of protection, of resolve, of will. And the Knight of Extra, I'm not quite sure who that is. Page of Extra, not quite sure who that is either. And of course, so these are the master cards. As you can see, this is the director of the organized masters. This is the more impulsive, and this is the more resilient. So perhaps that's one way of reading the cards. And oh, so we have got the information here. Right, came in a separate box according to the photos, so I guess they just put everything in the same box, which I really appreciate because I had no idea where to Mandarin. So I do appreciate Ilin, which is obviously Merlin. That's Ban Tian Jing Shi. Zhen De, which is Joan of Arc. And the Empress is Isabel, so Isabel. And the Emperor is La Mesia Erzi. La Mesia. Who the heck is La Mesia? I think it's Alexander, but anyway, so we have got all the character names here, which, let's look at who the King of Caster is. Oh my god, Leonidas? That doesn't help. Oh, Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci. Right, so that's who it is. Okay, so this is very impressive. I like how they managed to skirt around the issue of having like a clunky book by simply printing them on cards. This is so interesting. Oh my god. Okay, I'm actually quite impressed by this. There was literally no review available online, so I couldn't find any review online when I ordered this, and it was supposed to arrive, I think, like 2 months ago, but due to unforeseen circumstances, and then there was the coronavirus, so it got delayed all the way until now. So I am so glad that it's finally arrived. I'm not sure how many cards there are in here though. It doesn't feel like there was 78 cards. It is a very heavy deck though. So there is 7 suits or 8 suits. So 8 suits of 4 cards each. That's 32 cards and 22 major arcana cards. So that's 54 cards and 3 extra cards. So that's 57 cards in here, I think. I hope my math isn't completely off. So 22 major arcana cards with 32, that's 54. Yep, so it's 57 cards in here. So that's definitely more than 20 cards. So yeah, we do get the full tarot deck. Oh, more explanations at the back. So anyway, let's just flip through this because I've got no clue what this is. Right, so these are alternate cards, I think, that you can sub out. Yeah. So these are the less Egyptian cards. Yeah. These are less Egyptian. So if you don't want that kind of energy, you can sub them out for these. So let's look through these cards. The Fool, so that is Mordred, Arthur's son who betrayed him. So I guess the Fool, so in the anime, she realizes that she didn't really resent her father. She was more of trying to take over because she saw the amount of strain that her father was under. And this is Ushiwaka. Yeah, I think that's her. I'm not sure though, so I'm just not going to embarrass myself. But you see the genie bottle, you see the riches, so there's a lot of symbols to look at. That's the High Priestess. Very interesting. You still get the crosses and some of the religious symbolism, the Empress. I think that's Ereshkigal, Queen of the Underworld in Sumerian mythology. That's the Emperor, who is Gilgamesh, of course, and the Hierophant. So you see how wide the references are, how inclusive they are. We've got Asian, we've got ancient Sumerian, we've got Catholic, we've got Judaism. It's just impressive. And that's the Lovers. Gorgeous. And Chariot, and that is Achilles. And we've got Strength, and that is Arthur, but in her brainwashed dark form. And the dragon here is an ode to her surname, Pendragon. The Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, this is interesting. Look at what he's holding. So it's like telling you, it's symbolizing the rise and fall of even kings. So the Wheel of Fortune doesn't stop spinning for anyone. Justice, and that is Robin Hood. Very apt. And the Hanged Man. Not sure who that is. Oh, I think that's Sakura. I think so. I'm not sure. Death. Not sure who that is either. Temperance, that's Sharon. Was it Sharon? Was it Chiron? The Centaur. I can't remember if Sharon's the guy who rolls the boat across the Styx, so this is Chiron. And the constellation Sagittarius. The Devil. I'm not sure who that is either. Ooh, look at all the zombies she's had. And that's the tower. Oh, I think this is one of the monsters that one of the casters summoned. Yeah, I think it was a tentacle monster. I don't really remember. The star. It is quite faithful in that one of the one of the cups is pouring onto land, the other into water. It is quite reminiscent of the actual RWS. The moon. I think that's one of the homunculi. I think. Yeah, it is quite creepy. And we've got the sun. I think that's one of the Knights of the Round Table as well. I'm rubbish at remembering it because the universe, or the Nasuverse as they call it, is so huge that it's just impossible to remember them all. There's Judgment. Yeah, so before I get eviscerated for not being a true fan, I'm not really that big a fan. I am a fan of the anime, I'm a fan of the lore, but I'm not a huge enough fan to, you know, religiously study the thousands of pages on wiki, or spend hours on the mobile game, or the light novels. I'm just not that kind of fan. The world. So what's interesting is how these four symbols keep recurring. It's very interesting. We've got extra nameless card, and I'm pretty sure I should know who that is, but I don't. So nameless card, same as these. So we've got 23 extra cards here, followed by a detailed explanation of these 23 cards. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how to read them because if I do mix them up, I'll have to remember to use these instead. So I guess it's easy if you can remember who each one of them are, but I don't think I can. So let's try putting these into the album, and we'll see how that goes. So if you realize, there are no pip cards in this deck, so it's all just court cards, which I feel is apt because it doesn't place any general importance on any one character, because they are all significant characters in history or mythology. So they do fit perfectly. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to put them double-sided or one-sided. Let's see. Is there a middle part of it? Yep, there is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 times 2 times 2, 48 on this side. And that means 48 on this side as well. So that's 96 slots. So we've established that this is 57 and this is 23. So that's a total of 80 cards. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So perfectly 96 cards. So we don't have to put them double-sided. They can all fit in their individual slots. And I find that it's beautiful. And I am only now realizing that it doesn't make sense to put them double-sided because these cards are double-sided. So should have known earlier. So anyway, I guess when you slot them all in, it's just going to be quite shiny. on both sides, so I'm just not going to do it now because nobody needs to watch that. So anyway, I don't think, because I'm going to slot them all in later, I am a bit icky about doing a spread with them. Okay, for the sake of the review, I will do them, but I think I will take these 3 cards out until I figure out. Okay, so they are quite easy to shuffle, and the smoothness of... I have an important event next Saturday, and let's see, got Page of Extra. Berserker. So they are very easy to pull cards. Archer, and I feel like there's one more card in there. There it is, and that's King of Assassin. There we go. Right. 绝对优势，脱离控制，隐藏真实 ，hiding the truth, not being truthful. So it is kind of true because during the event I am supposed to do something, and it's just to get through it for myself. So that is true. And then we've got Queen of Caster. So do bear that in mind. And we've got the Queen of Caster, who is so it's again secretive, able to be likable. Right, so it is quite favorable for me because being likable is half of the battle. It is going to be a battle. So we've got, let's just put it in order. Okay, we've got King of Berserker. That's going to be King of Berserker. I'm so sorry this is taking so long. I am so confused. Where on earth is the Berserker? Ah, there we go. Right, so King of Berserker would be somewhere there. That's in Japanese. Ah, here we go. King of Berserker. And that's naivety, that's loyalty, very staunch, believing in yourself and your tastes, or your ability to be well, your ability to spot what's good and what's not. I'm a rubbish interpreter like that. 精神领袖, so you're like a spiritual leader, a powerful morale leader, and that's able to save a situation. So that's good for me, because I'm not actually feeling very confident about it. I'm just very apathetic when it comes to these things, so it doesn't show, but I'm not that confident. You know, that's how I am, like whatever will be, will be. So we've got Archer. It is so hard. Ah, there we go. That's the Queen of Archer in Japanese. There we go. Queen of Archer. And that's Early Wong. Everyone? Is there an everyone in mythology? Anyway. So, it is 热切的爱, passionate love, finding happiness for other people, good face, and being cared for. So that is great news. So I'm just a bit apprehensive of the King of Assassins. King of Assassin. There we go. Okay, so the King of Assassin is loyalty again, faith, strong will, unique approach, and taking responsibility. So that is great. So it is very favorable for me. I feel much better about the events already. So anyway, just so I don't waste more of your time, um, this is a fantastic deck. It is so impressive. It just went way beyond my expectations. So great. I'm so happy with this deck, and I'm definitely going to look through all the laws now that I've got the incentive to do it, because I want to read with this deck. So I'm debating whether to keep this deck for, I think I'll just use this right now since I've already shuffled it, and wait for the other deck to come before I start filing it away. Yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I will try to find, I think it's out of stock because I literally grabbed the last copies from the 2 separate shops that I got it from. But if you do see it on, you know, Amazon or eBay or Etsy or any of those shops, do consider grabbing it, because this is such a fantastic deck. I really love it so much, and not just because I'm a Fate fan. So yeah, thank you for watching. This is Singy from the Sanctum of the Soul, and if you are in Singapore, I am selling crystals on my Instagram page, so do consider, you know, checking my Instagram out. And I'm so sorry for not having posted anything for the past 2 months, because I had so many decks on pre-order and they all got delayed. So I've got a lot of exciting decks coming in. I have received a few of them already, so I am saving them for unboxing videos or and review videos. So, oh god, so I'm so sorry that this took 55 minutes. Yeah, so I'm just going to stop rambling right now. Thank you again for watching. Have a wonderful day ahead. And yeah, see you!